Hello again. I am nearly back at my home in Bayeux, but I'm about a mile and a half away. The other side of that hedge is the N13 highway. Can't really see it. That's the main road between Bayeux. You probably Bayeux and Caen. You can hear it. If you come off at the little town of Saint-Martin-des-Entrées, just before Bayeux, there's the highway there. Can you see the highway? Yeah, there's the road, right? There's a 4-lane road. You come up this little single track to this little location here. My van parked there. I haven't been here for a couple of years. I don't know if there's anybody watching this. There's 2 of you watching it. Hooray! And all across the world, essentially, especially in France where I live, when you see a cemetery like this, I always keep an eye out, and Mag always keeps an eye out, for a little green plaque beside the entrance. And here is a little green plaque. Actually, this one is actually a very dark, very, very dark, almost black rifle green Commonwealth War grave. And in fact, if you're driving down the N13, you can see, if you're looking, the 2 flags from the road. I'll take you in the cemetery. And as you are aware, it is the 80th anniversary of D-Day. I left Pegasus Bridge. It's crazy busy. Mag is at the Overlord Museum at Omaha Beach. Crazy busy. And here, though, as I rather anticipated, I am the only one here, because people don't know about this. And if you saw some of my content yesterday, talking to Garrett Graff and Nick Hewitt and others, and June the 6th, D-Day it's kind of the end of one chapter, the beginning of a new chapter. It's the end of the planning. It's the end of the 2 years it took to put Overlord together. And we think about, and the world leaders, apart from Rishi Sunak, who buggered off home early. Don't get me started on that. We talk about the losses on June the 6th, and then on through the 76-day campaign. But of course, hi, Willie. I've got my glasses on this time. But of course, the losses for Normandy essentially began earlier, because there were Navy operations in the Channel, in the Baie de la Seine. There were loads and loads of air missions over Normandy. And buried here is a Canadian, a pilot officer. And pilot officer W.K. Ferguson, Royal Canadian Air Force, 15th of January, 1943. And his grave sits in this small but immaculately kept French cemetery. And the villagers of Saint-Martin-des-Entrées have put flags. So you saw them, the Canadian and French flags, side by side. And so Ferguson is not counted as one of the D-Day dead, because he died a year and 5 months before Operation Overlord commenced. And as Peter Caddick Adams says in his book, Sand and Steel, as many Allied soldiers died in training for D-Day as actually died on June the 6th itself. And in my opinion, it just invites that question of how we define these battles, how we talk about what is and what isn't connected to a particular operation. And this pilot played his role in the preparation for Overlord and was buried here by the French. I'm just taking you outside. There's a little information panel. Now, I have to say, A, I'm a little bit tired, and B, I didn't know I was going to come here. I just was thinking, oh, I should do something on my way back to Bayeux before I feed the cats. And I thought I'd pop in here. I haven't been here for a while. I know there's a book on this story, which I don't actually have, but it's an interesting story. So outside is the story. So the basic story here. So it's acknowledging there is a tomb or the grave of W.K. Ferguson. So I will read it to you. The cemetery of Saint-Germain, situated on the old National Highway 13, contains the grave of Canadian pilot officer William Kennedy Ferguson. On the 15th of January 1943, he crashed his aircraft near the village of Damigny. His burial here was ordered by the German authorities on the 18th of January. To show their solidarity with the cause for which he had died, a large crowd descended upon the churchyard to pay their last respects. As flowers were laid on the grave, the Germans took this as a provocation, and alerting the Feldgendarmerie, that's the German military police, confiscated the identity papers of all those present. On the 14th and 15th of February 1943, 10 hostages, of whom 4 were taken from their classroom, were dispatched to concentration camps. 4 of the 10 hostages would never return. And there's a picture of his Spitfire. So, and yes, you're right, Mark Loop. There is a street named after him in Saint-Martin-des-Entrées. And he has one of the banners in town. I might drive past it as I go back, but won't be able to film it for you. And if nothing else, that story I just told you symbolizes the solidarity and the togetherness of the French, the British, the Canadians, the Americans, and the best reason to commemorate this 80th anniversary. It's just an information panel indicating that there's a monument, a zone of the monument to our Canadian liberator. It's there. You see, you've got a picture there. And so this is a very short stop. I'm going to stop talking a minute. Here, right beside a main road that hundreds of thousands of vehicles pretty much have been passing over these last 2 days, is our grave of a single Canadian soldier. And the whole story is in the book. And, you know, the concentration camp story, is of course harrowing and tragic and awful. And we often forget about what happened to Allied pilots who were killed over occupied Europe. Often they were in fact buried by the French, and sometimes the Germans actually participated in the burial. This time they took that solidarity, that gathering of locals, as the sign said there, as a kind of provocative statement of alliance with the Allied cause. And don't forget things like listening to the BBC. The BBC radio broadcast was forbidden under the occupation. Many people had illegal radios and did so, but it was strictly forbidden. So there we are. I've had a few beers yesterday. I've had some great times meeting friends, had a couple of laughs, and I've also, at the right moments, paused and thought about the reason everybody is gathered here. And I think some of the people who gathered in Normandy, not all, not by the great majority here for the right reasons, but some people I think have just come here to show off in their jeeps or go to the pubs and just be part of the carnival aspects. And I don't have a problem with the celebration aspect of D-Day at all, as long as it sits alongside the commemorative aspect of it. The two go hand in hand. You go to the cemetery, you pay your respects, then you can go to the pub, or you attend a ceremony, you bow your head, you have your minute or two silence, and then you can go and have a saucisse frite and talk to your friends. So there we are. We are very fortunate that this year's anniversary has been fantastic weather. Not too hot. It's warm, but it's not crazy hot or anything. There's nice breeze blowing everywhere. So I feel that the veterans who are going out for incredibly long days aren't getting, at least they're not getting cold, I don't think, and they're not getting rained on. But the veterans on the big groups must be, if I'm tired, they must be really tired. So hats off to them. And just going to end with this artistic, is it artistic shot of a wheat field. And thank you, Jason, for saying you love my live shows. I could do more. The problem is when I'm going to places, it's just so damn busy. You can't hear yourself think. It's jeeps running past and motorbikes and tour buses. And I saw Kevin Hemel up at Pegasus Bridge and a couple other friends up there. But you can't hear yourself think. It's just so crazily busy. So I will leave it there. I'll just I'm not actually wearing a hat right now, so I could turn the camera around, but you'll say, oh my God, he's not wearing a hat. I've only got a wool one with me today, and it's a tad warm, but there I am. So that's me at Saint-Martin-des-Entrées, acknowledging the death of Pilot Officer Ferguson in January 1943, and the French who turned out in commemoration of his death and were therefore punished by the Germans, 4 of whom met their end in a concentration camp. So, happy 7th of June, everybody. I will talk to you again whenever I talk to you again. I don't know when that will be. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. The 9th, I'll be with Mag and the Best Defense Foundation, but I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. But anyway, have a good day. Enjoy the content, and never forget,